Tune in and listen up. Tune in and speak up. Hello, English learners. Want to learn something interesting whilst having fun? Welcome to Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast where you'll get to know this beautiful language in depth. Each week, we'll dive into exciting topics, share practical tips, and tell you fascinating English language stories. So whether you're studying, going to work, or just relaxing, connect, listen, and let's make English part of your world. Wherever you are, whenever you want, just hit play, tune in and listen up. Tune in to UMNH Radio every Tuesday from 11 a.m. till noon. Don't just learn English, live it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast from Universidad Militar Nueva Granada, where we explore curious stories, surprising facts, and cultural insights from around the world, all through the lens of English learning. This is the podcast where unusual events from history and culture become your classroom for English practice. I'm Jorge Bermudez, teacher of English at the Department of Multicultural Studies at UMNH, part of the School of Education and Humanities. I'll be your guide through some of the most unusual and thought-provoking topics, from surprising food stories to forgotten inventions and strange scientific discoveries. Whether you're learning English as a second language or just love learning something new, this podcast is for you. Ready to improve your listening skills, expand your vocabulary, and engage in meaningful conversations? Then grab your headphones, tune in, and let's speak up. Today in Tune In and Speak Up, the weird history of the sandwich. Okay, let's begin. So let's think about something very simple, a sandwich. Maybe you had one for breakfast today, or maybe you packed one for lunch this morning before leaving home. Bread on the outside, something tasty inside, meat, cheese, vegetables, eggs, tuna, or even peanut butter and jelly. There are sandwiches for breakfast, lunch, and even a quick dinner. Some are cold, some are hot, some are long and filled with many ingredients, and some are just one or two simple things inside. Sandwiches are everywhere, in school cafeterias, in restaurants, in coffee shops, and wrapped in lunch boxes. You can buy them at the supermarket, or you can make one in just a few minutes at home. They are fast, they are easy, and they are delicious. Because sandwiches are so common, we don't usually stop and think about them. We grab one when we are hungry and continue with our day. But behind this everyday food, there is actually a really strange and surprising story. Who thought of putting food between two pieces of bread? When did it become a popular idea? And why is it called a sandwich? Okay, so now that we are beginning, let's talk about the pronunciation. Okay, so a pronunciation tip. The word sandwich is pronounced sandwich in American English, so the "the" is not pronounced in natural speech. So drop the "the." Now, sandwich sounds more like our Spanish version, obviously, but the most common pronunciation is just sandwich. Okay, so now that we have this pronunciation tip, let's explore the weird history of the sandwich. During this episode, we will learn some new vocabulary connected to food and eating. So grab a sandwich, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. In today's episode, the weird history of the sandwich. Okay, so let's go to sandwiches before the sandwich. When we hear the word sandwich, we usually think about a very common idea: two pieces of bread with something tasty inside. It feels modern and normal. You can buy a sandwich almost anywhere today, at the supermarket, in a cafe, or even from a vending machine. But the concept of bread holding food is much older than the name we use now. Long before someone said the word sandwich, people all around the world were already doing something similar. Bread has always been a basic and important food in all the cultures. It is easy to carry. You can hold it in one hand and you can eat it anywhere. So it became a very practical way to carry or hold other foods. For example, thousands of years ago in the Middle East, people used flatbread to hold vegetables, meat, or sausages. Here in this picture to the left, we had this flat bread from the Middle East, right, holding food. This made eating faster and cleaner, especially when they didn't have plates, forks, or knives. In many Mediterranean cultures, bread often worked like a plate or a spoon. After eating the food on top, they could eat the bread too. Nothing was wasted. One very interesting early example of a sandwich-like idea appears in Jewish tradition. Over 2,000 years ago, a religious scholar named Hillel the Elder, here in a modern day representation of this man, he ate lamb and bitter herbs between two pieces of matzah during Passover, a very important Jewish celebration. It was a symbolic way to eat different foods together. Many people believe this could be one of the oldest sandwiches in history. Of course, people at that time did not call it a sandwich. There was no such word yet. But the idea, bread on the outside, food on the inside, was already popular in many cultures. The sandwich we know today is really just a modern version of a very old eating tradition. Okay, let's talk about this man, the Earl and the Legend. Earl corresponds to count, or as we say in Spanish, conde. Now we move to 18th century England, around the 1760s. This is where the name sandwich was born. At the center of the story is a man with a very fancy title, John Montagu, the fourth Earl of Sandwich. Here in the picture to the right, John Montagu. Sandwich is a town in England, or exactly in Kent. Here in our slide, we have a picture of the beautiful medieval town of Sandwich in Kent. The Earl was an important politician, but he was also famous for something more unusual. He loved gambling, okay? Playing with cars, playing money, right? Gambling, what you do in Las Vegas. He enjoyed playing cards for many hours. He didn't want anything to interrupt his game, not even dinner. According to the legend, one day he was so focused on the cards that he gave a creative order to a server. Bring me meat between two slices of bread. Why was this a clever idea? No plate needed, no fork or knife needed. no grease or mess on his fingers. He could keep one hand on his cards and keep eating. His friends watched and thought, hey, that looks smart. So they told the server, I'll have the same as sandwich. Slowly, this practical snack started to spread to other people in London, then across England, and eventually around the world. The name stayed with it, sandwich. But was he really gambling? Here is the interesting part. Historians are not completely sure this story is 100% true. Many experts believe John Montagu probably ate his bread and meat while working at his desk, not only at the card table. He was a very busy man with many political responsibilities. So a quick and easy meal made sense. Still, the gambling version of the story is more dramatic, more fun, easier to remember. So that is the story most people tell today. But what truly matters is that even if some details are unclear, the important points remain the same. The Earl of Sandwich, remember John Montagu, helped make the sandwich popular and gave it the name we use every day. Thanks to him, what started as a simple convenience became one of the most common foods in the world. Okay, now the sandwich goes global. After the sandwich became popular among rich British aristocrats, its journey was only beginning. Then, step by step, it moved from fancy private clubs into the hands of ordinary workers. During the 19th century, life changed quickly because of the Industrial Revolution. Many people worked long hours in factories. They only had a very short break to eat something. They needed food that was quick to grab, easy to hold, not expensive, and possibly to eat without cutlery. The sandwich was the perfect answer. Soon, sandwiches started appearing everywhere in bars, cafes, markets, and on the streets of London. Busy workers could buy one, eat it while walking, and get back to work. After that, the sandwich became a normal part of daily life. It was no longer just a meal for the rich, it was a meal for everyone. So look at these people in this London market, right? Trying to get something to eat really quick before going back to work. And then eventually the sandwich crossed the Atlantic and arrived in the United States. Americans loved the idea and began to experiment. They made sandwiches bigger, everything is bigger in North America, taller, and even sweeter. Some famous examples include the club sandwich, layers of turkey, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise. Don't forget the club sandwich. The submarine sandwich or sub, a long bread roll filled with many ingredients like meat, cheese, and vegetables. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Imagine this combination peanut butter and jelly, very North American. Simple, sweet, and very popular with children. These sandwiches show how the idea can grow in different directions. Here in our slide, we have grilled cheese, the cheese on the grill, tomato sandwich. I don't know about that. Sounds simple but delicious. We have the balloony cheese, balloony and cheese. Balloony is what we call in Colombia mortadela. Okay. BLT sandwich, bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich, peanut butter and jelly, we just mentioned it, and egg sandwich. Now, I don't know if you remember those egg sandwiches from your school years, right? The smell could ruin your bus ride. Okay. Why is it called a submarine sandwich in the USA? First, is all about the shape. Okay, so we can see it very clearly in the pictures. A sub uses a long bread roll. When you fill it with ingredients and close it, it looks like a small submarine floating on a plate. But there is also a historical connection. In the early 1900s, made large sandwiches with long rolls. They sold them near a US Navy submarine base in Connecticut. Workers at the base loved them because the sandwiches were big, filling, and easy to take to work. People started calling them submarine sandwiches because of the submarines they worked on every day. Later, the name became easier and shorter, subs. Now, different names in different places. In the United States, the same sandwich has many local names. A sub in most of the country, hoagie in Philadelphia, hero in New York, grinder in New England, but they are all cousins in the sandwich family. Long, tasty, and perfect when you are very hungry. Okay, where is my presentation? Give me a second. Okay, hello, hello, hello. Okay, we had a little technical problem with the presentation, but let's continue with the story. The sandwich around the world. The sandwich didn't stop there. It continued traveling and mixing with local traditions. In Vietnam, when the French introduced baguettes during colonization, local people filled them with fresh herbs, pickles, meat, and chili sauce. The result was the banh mi, a delicious combination of cultures. In Latin America, foods like arepas, you know very well, arepas, and tortas. Remember, in Mexico, remember the chavo del ocho, right? Talking about the tortas de jamón, right? So bread, that's how they call it, right? Show that this idea, the arepas and the Mexican tortas, the bread filling idea keeps changing to match local tastes. Every country adds something different: new bread, new flavors, new styles. There's nothing more delicious than an arepa with something delicious inside. So, from elegant tables of nobility to noisy factories to school cafeterias and busy city streets, the sandwich has become an international superstar. Today, there is a sandwich for every culture, every taste, and every moment of the day. It's amazing that something so simple became something so universal. Here in Latin America, we enjoy sandwiches with our own special twist. Yes, there are the classic ones like ham and cheese, what we call sandwiches in several countries. But we also love strong and French and fresh flavors. Grilled chicken sandwiches with tomato and lettuce, meat with avocado inside, in soft and warm bread. Sandwiches with shredded beef, chimichurri, or ají for a spicy kick. Okay, here we have the arepa rellena and the banh mi in Vietnam. Okay, okay. So what else? Sweet options with chocolate spread or arequipe for breakfast or snacks. Every family and every country has its favorite version. In Colombia, you might find a perro caliente, which is some kind of sandwich. And as I mentioned before, in Mexico, a torta can be big enough for a full meal. In Argentina, a milanesa sandwich is a weekend classic. Sandwiches are part of our culture, not only a quick bite. And think about our university life. When you have a long day of classes, a sandwich is a trusted friend in your backpack. No need to heat it, no need for a plate. You just eat and go. It gives you energy and comfort when you need it. So, the next time you bite into a sandwich, take a moment to think about what you're holding. It's not only bread and filling, you're eating a piece of history, a delicious tradition shared around the world. Okay, so now the sandwich goes global, right? And has business success. Today, the sandwich is not just a simple meal. It has become a worldwide economic powerhouse. Everywhere you go, from small neighborhood bakeries to giant international fast food chains, sandwiches are being made, sold, and enjoyed by millions of people every single day. What started as a practical snack has turned into a multi billion-dollar global industry. One of the most famous examples is Subway, a company known for its submarine style sandwiches. According to the latest business report, Subway has more than 37,000 restaurants operating in more than 100 countries across the globe. This incredible number makes it one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. Even with recent changes in the United States, where some locations have closed, Subway continues to expand in many international markets and serves millions of customers every day. But why is the company called Subway? The story behind the name Subway connects the brand with the type of sandwich it became famous for, and also with a clever marketing decision. The business began in 1965 when Fred DeLuca, here on the picture, when he was only 17 years old, he borrowed $1,000 from his family friend Peter Buck, a physicist with a PhD, to open a submarine sandwich shop in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The original name of the first restaurant was Pete's Super Submarines. Here in the picture, we can see the original Subway restaurant, Pete's Super Submarines. Shortly after, the name changed to just Pete's Subway. And then in 1968, the company formally adopted the simpler name Subway. There are a few reasons for this choice. The sandwich they made was of the submarine style that we just described, long sub is shorter for submarine sandwich. And by using Subway, the brand linked itself to this popular product. This word, Subway, is short, memorable, and easy to pronounce in many languages, which helped as the chain planned to grow beyond the United States. Some sources suggest Subway also reminds customers of the underground train system, a subway, which implies speed and convenience, fitting for a quick service restaurant. For example, the original website says the name is original name for the Brooklyn Manhattan Transit System. Because of this combination, the submarine sandwich style, an easy brand name, and the promise of quick, convenient food, Subway became the company name and a global franchise brand. Today, when someone hears Subway, they immediately think of the sandwich chain, even though the word itself doesn't include sandwich. The brand has built its identity around the idea of subs, the submarine sandwiches, and makes the product central to its name. The United Kingdom is another great example of sandwich success. People there purchase around 4 billion sandwiches every year. 4 billion, which creates a market worth more than 8 billion pounds annually. This economic power is supported by workers who depend on sandwiches as a fast, affordable, and satisfying lunch during busy workdays. In cities like London, the sandwich is not only a meal, it is a daily routine for commuters. Remember, commuters, the people traveling on public transportation, employees, and students. The United States also plays a major role in sandwich culture. Research shows that Americans eat sandwiches extremely often. One national survey found that nearly 50% of adults consume at least one sandwich on any given day. Classics like turkey sandwiches, grilled cheese, and the famous peanut butter and jelly sandwich, remember, very American, have become part of American family traditions. Children's lunchboxes and restaurant menus everywhere. Globally, the growth is even more impressive. According to Fortune Business Insights, the worldwide sandwich market was valued at more than $428 billion dollars in 2024. $428 billion dollars in 2024. And analysts expect it to continue increasing as people rely more on food that is convenient and quick to eat. There are many reasons the sandwich has become such a big commercial success. It is fast to prepare, easy to transport, and simple to eat without needing a table, utensils, or even much time. Sandwiches are also infinitely customizable. There are options for every taste, diet, and budget. Whether someone wants something healthy and fresh or rich and indulgent, there is always a sandwich that fits. Another important reason is that sandwiches match perfectly with modern life. People today are busier than ever, rushing to work, running between university classes, and managing full schedules. A sandwich fits into those small breaks when cooking or sitting in a restaurant just is not possible. Technology such as food delivery apps has also helped the sandwich industry become even more profitable, with quick meals delivered directly to homes and workplaces. From a convenient snack created during the Industrial Revolution to one of the most profitable and adaptable foods on the planet, the sandwich continues to grow in popularity every year. It has become both a global business and a cultural icon, a food that brings people together while also powering a massive worldwide economy. Okay, let's talk about the vocabulary of this episode. Let's take a moment to review some of the key vocabulary and expressions from this episode. As always, understanding these words will not only help you talk about food, but also about human traditions, culture, and imagination. So, as usual, we have the three columns: the word, the meaning, and one example sentence. Okay? So, let's go to the first one: portable, meaning easy to carry. A sandwich is portable, so I can eat it anywhere. That's our example. Aristocrat, a person from a rich and powerful family. The Earl of Sandwich was an aristocrat in England. Don't forget his name, John Montagu. Gamble, to play games for money. People go to casinos to gamble. That's what you do in Las Vegas and in some places here in Bogota. Filling, the food inside a sandwich. My favorite filling is chicken with avocado. What's your favorite sandwich filling? Legend, a famous story, sometimes not 100% true. In our sentence, we have the legend says the Earl invented the sandwich while gambling. Convenience, something that makes life easier. Example, the sandwich became popular because of its convenience. We also have in the United States what we call convenience stores. Think of an OXXO, okay? That's a convenience store. Industrial Revolution, a time when machines changed how people worked. In our first season, we talked about the Industrial Revolution when we were discussing the evolution of the English language. In our example today, we have during the Industrial Revolution, workers needed fast meals. Variation, a different form or type. The club sandwich is a variation with many layers. Don't forget all the layers in a club sandwich. Spread, to move or grow in many places. The sandwich spread to many countries. That's also the verb we use. When we use butter on top of our bread, we spread the butter. And finally, evolve, to change slowly over time. Sandwiches continue to evolve with new ingredients. Okay, but the sandwich is not alone in this story. The sandwich is a great example of how a simple idea can become a worldwide success. But guess what? It's not the only famous food that started from a strange situation or by accident. Many foods we enjoy today come from unexpected moments, problems, or even fun mistakes in the kitchen. Let's explore a few delicious stories. The first one, French fries to the right, on the upper right corner. People still argue about where French fries come from, Belgium or France. One interesting story says that in Belgium, people loved frying small fish from the river. But during a very cold winter, the river froze and they couldn't catch fish anymore. So they tried frying potatoes instead. It was a creative solution and a very tasty one. Today, French fries are a symbol of fast food and are enjoyed everywhere with ketchup, mayonnaise, or special sauces depending on the country. A cold winter day helped create one of the world's favorite snacks. Today, for example, in Colombia, most of the French fries that you eat in hamburger places and restaurants come from Belgium, which I think it's terrible. They should come from Boyacá, but they come from Belgium. Okay, one more incredible story, the ice cream cone. Here we have a vintage photograph of children and their mom probably eating ice cream. Imagine eating ice cream without a cup or cone. It would melt everywhere. That almost happened at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, USA. An ice cream seller suddenly ran out of cups when too many people wanted ice cream. Nearby, a waffle vendor saw the problem and had an idea. He rolled a warm waffle into a cone shape so the ice cream could be held easily. People loved it. They could walk and eat without any mess. That small moment of teamwork between two strangers changed desserts forever. One more incredible food, nachos. In 1943, in a town called Piedras Negras in Mexico, a group of hungry women walked into a restaurant after closing time. The chef wasn't there and they really wanted something to eat. The waiter, Ignacio Nacho Anaya, didn't want to disappoint them. He looked around the kitchen and found tortilla chips, cheese, and jalapenos. He heated everything together and served the dish. It was so delicious that the customers kept asking for nachos special. Soon, the name nachos spread everywhere. Today, nachos are a popular food at parties, movie nights, and sports games. So don't forget, nachos from Ignacio Anaya, alias Nacho. Okay, more accidental favorites. There are many other foods with unusual beginnings. Chocolate chip cookies, created when baker Ruth Wakefield ran out of baking chocolate and broke a bar into pieces. The chocolate melted just a little and a new cookie was born. Don't forget the name, Ruth Wakefield. Cornflakes, the famous cornflakes, invented when two brothers accidentally overcooked wheat while trying to make a healthier food. Cornflakes. These stories show that sometimes a mistake becomes a masterpiece. And obviously, this is a delicious lesson for all of us. Food history is full of surprises. A frozen river, an ice cream emergency, a creative waiter, small events that can lead to big traditions. So the sandwich is not alone in its unusual past. Great foods often come from unexpected moments, and they can change the world one bite at a time. Okay, let's go to our final thoughts. So let's take a moment to think about everything we explored today. We eat sandwiches all the time, at home, at school, at work, but their history is much more surprising and exciting than most people imagine. First, we learned that the idea of a sandwich, bread holding food, is very old, thousands of years old, okay? Long before anyone used the word sandwich, people in different ancient cultures used flat bread or simple bread to hold vegetables, herbs, or meat. So the sandwich is not just modern, it is universal and ancient. Next, we met Jean Montagu here in the picture. This man thinking about sandwiches, the Earl of Sandwich. Don't forget, a town in England and also a group of islands in the South Pacific, Sandwich Islands. Whether working at his desk, one version, or playing cards for hours, the most credible version. He wanted food he could eat with one hand and without a mess. His clever habit helped popularize the sandwich and gave it the famous name we still use today. Then, during the Industrial Revolution, people had little time for meals. That's our situation now. Again, little time for lunch. They needed something fast, cheap, and easy to eat. Sandwiches became the perfect answer. And from that moment on, they were not longer food only for aristocrats. They became food for everyone. After that, the sandwich traveled around the world and mixed with different cultures. Today, there are sandwiches for every taste, from giant American subs to Vietnamese banh mi filled with herbs and chili, to Latin American tortas and arepas full of local flavor. Everywhere you go, this combination, bread and filling, equals happiness. But sandwiches are not alone in having a strange origin story. We also learned about French fries, possibly remember invented when a frozen river stopped people from frying fish, ice cream cones born from a last minute solution at the World's Fair, nachos created by a creative waiter helping hungry guests after hours. Don't forget Ignacio and Maria. These foods remind us that sometimes a problem, an accident, or a quick idea can create a global favorite. So, from a quick snack at a game table to a worldwide icon in street food and lunch boxes, the sandwich has taken an amazing journey through history, just like many of the foods we love today. The next time you grab a sandwich in a cafe, in a classroom, or on a long bus ride, remember, you're not just eating something simple, you're enjoying tradition, creativity, and thousands of years of delicious evolution. Every sandwich has a story, and now you know it. Okay, thank you so much for joining me today on Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast from Universidad Militar Nueva Granada. I hope you enjoyed our journey through the weird history of the sandwich. Don't forget to share it with your classmates, friends, or fellow English learners. As you know, this season we're talking about unusual but meaningful topics that show how language, history, and everyday life are deeply connected. If today's episode helped you learn something new or gave you a new perspective on culture and communication, then our mission is accomplished. If you'd like to share your thoughts, reflections, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Your ideas help us improve, and your voice helps shape future episodes. This podcast is for learners like you, curious, committed, and ready to take the next step. We'll be back next week with another topic that might surprise you, make you think, or spark a conversation in English. In the meantime, keep listening, keep practicing, and most of all, keep speaking up. Until next time, Leo, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Tune in and speak up. Hello, English learners. Want to learn something interesting whilst having fun? Welcome to Tune In and Speak Up, the podcast where you'll get to know this beautiful language in depth. Each week, we'll dive into exciting topics, share practical tips, and tell you fascinating English language stories. So whether you're studying, going to work, or just relaxing, connect, listen, and let's make English part of your world. Wherever you are, whenever you want, just hit play, tune in and listen up. Tune in to UMNH Radio every Tuesday from 11 a.m. till noon. Don't just learn English, live it.
Lo que ocurre en la universidad, los acontecimientos y sus protagonistas están en UMNG Radio.